Sometimes you have a job where you make real friends and you get to gossip while you refill the Keurig. Maybe you have a coworker who you cutely call your work wife or your work husband, which is fine as long as their actual partner also thinks it's cute. After a string of questionable relationships, I ended up meeting my husband at work. I am far more proud of our relationship than I am of the job that led us to each other. You see, the year was the late 90s at some point, and I was touring around various Canadian pumpkin patches and cider fests and shopping malls, performing in a children's theater show of Sailor Moon. For those of you less cultured than I, Sailor Moon is a Japanese anime show where the characters wear less of the navy uniform associated with actual sailors and more of the underwear that is left. Once badly cut up a pair of spandex shorts, plus, thigh-high boots. It's super cool. The point is, I was the star of the touring company, and Jason, my now husband of almost 23 years, was in the second string cast. He was the understudy of the character named Tuxedo Mask. Why did we even meet if I was like 10 hierarchy steps above him? I guess because of a little fellow named Cupid. But tossing aside my A cast status for someone in the B cast was probably the best choice I've ever made. I have to say, that there is no love truer than someone who has seen you just wriggle and writhe into tights that are too small for you in the name of children's theater, just like behind the flats of a makeshift stage at the Bolton Cider Fest in Southern Ontario. That is how I know how strong our love is. It was forged out of the absolute lowest low point of our careers, like rock bottom. Career rock bottom. Nowhere to go but up. Just there's no way to be more embarrassed in front of another person than we were at the time of our meeting, which turns out is actually foundationally pretty great. At least it was for our relationship. For me, choosing the right person, and I think that Jason would say this too, meant finding someone who didn't dominate the relationship with their own choices or their hobbies only or their moods, whatever they were. It was someone who I could be my whole self with. Like, you can be happy and you can be sad. And, your ideal partner is like a soft place to fall, but also they are your biggest cheerleader. They're additive. They make you a better version of yourself, even if that is embarrassing to say. For me, the choice was easy. It was the second string guy in an ill-fitting cape, spats, a top hat, and a mask. Swoon. This is Choice Words. I'm Samantha Bee. Today, I spoke with Lane Moore, a former sex and relationships editor at Cosmopolitan. She's a comedian and host of the hilarious live show Tinder Live, which you can see at Littlefield in NYC on February 13th, and a Tinder Live live stream on February 15th. She is also the author of How to Be Alone, If You Want to, and Even If You Don't. And You Will Find Your People, How to Make Meaningful Friendships as an Adult, as well as her latest title, You're Not the Only One Fucking Up, Breaking the Endless Cycle of Dating Mistakes. She gets us in the mood for both Galentine's and Valentine's Day, so take a listen and make good choices. Thank you so much for being here. I'm really excited to talk to you.
Yeah, me too.
Oh
so excited. Yeah, it's going to be
so
fun.
excited. Okay, this episode is going to land. It's a pre-Valentine's Day, which is, as we know, a made-up holiday. It's not even a holiday. It's not really anything at all.
Yeah.
But I thought it's always timely to talk about especially relationships,
Yes.
humans, interpersonal relationships. Why not?
Yes.
And we all make decisions in our different ways, especially when it comes to love, relationships, friendships. How do you feel when you have something big, like a big decision that you have to make? Do you like that? Are you like, I'm going to wrestle with this?
What kind of, I have follow-up questions. I guess that says a
Okay.
lot about
I
my
love
brain.
it.
I'm like, no, I want to know the specific type of big choice. Is
Okay.
this a choice I really don't want to make? Because sometimes you're asked to make a big choice and you're like, I don't want to do
Right.
this. I don't want to do this. And those I don't
Right.
like. I don't like surprise choices.
Mhm.
If it's like an empowering eat, pray, love decision, I'm going to admit I haven't seen that movie. I don't know if she makes a big decision in that, but
I think she mostly makes the choice to eat more spaghetti than she normally would
right.
have.
And those are choices, big choices I like to make. Should I eat a second dinner? Yes, I feel good about this choice. But like a big choice, I don't like it. I tend to be a big deliberator, ask several people. Usually I don't like it because I think a lot of us have this idea of like there's one right choice, and if you do it wrong,
Right.
everything is bad. And that's why I
Right.
don't like it. I feel like I'm being tested. I feel like I'm at like the eye doctor and they're like, which one looks better? And I'm like, I don't know. If I get it wrong, did I just mess up my eyes? Like, I feel like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we're going to take your eyes out. If you're
Yes.
not using them responsibly, you're going to leave here without them.
Right. Can you fail an eye exam? I don't know, but I don't like the idea that there is one perfect choice. And then I try to remind myself like, okay, whatever choice I made was the perfect choice. I kind of go down that
Right.
road and that helps. Yeah.
That's good. It's like I made the best decision that I could make
yeah.
with all the information I had,
Yeah.
and it felt right so it's kind of, there's something
Yeah.
organic about the process for you.
It kind of has to be. And then you just have to trust yourself, which can be so
Right.
hard because everybody has messed up. Everybody's made a bad choice. And then you're like, well, I don't want to make another bad choice this time. It feels like the pressure I can put on myself. But then I have to remind myself, I've also made really good choices. Maybe this is a time when I'm making a good choice. We just don't know. Nobody can come in and tell us, like, you did it right. Like, we don't know.
No. Kind of like sitting with uncertainty is
Yeah.
so, and sometimes something will happen in the outside world that just like disturbs your, it's like a disturbance in the force for quite some time. And you're like,
Yeah.
all my choices I can't do anything today.
That's a big choice, especially when you have a lot of big choices that it's like, now you
Yeah.
have to decide this and you kind of don't get a break. I feel like over the last couple years, I know I'm not the only one on this, but I've had to make so many choices. I'm like, I just would
Right.
love to have a time period where everything's just really chill and I don't have to make any big choices and I just kind of coast. Is that real? I don't know.
I don't know that that's real, but it
Yeah.
is something. I feel like we're all kind of like striving for. It's almost like you're like, when you watch
Yeah.
a science fiction movie and it's supposed to be terrifying that you just see like an empty beach,
Yeah.
and you're like, well, this is very peaceful.
Yeah.
I think it usually means something very dreadful
Yeah.
in a science fiction movie
Right.
because there's definitely like Armageddon is on the other side of that horizon.
Right.
Now tell me, okay, how do you can you name, if you look back at the spectrum of your life, can you name a big choice that you made? And it can be for the better, for the worse, a big choice that you feel like really changed the trajectory of your life. Something, even if it was small, sometimes it is something super small that kind of changes everything or reframes the whole way everything played out.
Yeah. There are a couple that I'm thinking of. One was, and this has been a very recent development because it took me a long, long time to get here, which is choosing people because I choose them, not because they chose me. Do you know what I mean?
I do. I love this so much. Oh my God, I need you to say a lot more about this.
I grew up and had, a lot of frustrating friendships and, I didn't have the perfect, like the best girlfriends and we never fight and no one's ever mean to each other. Like, I don't know who had that, but I didn't. And so I
Mhm.
think for a long time, I really just, if anybody wanted to be my friend, I was like, "Oh, you want to be my friend? Oh my God, I can't believe you think I have value." And would just
Mm.
go in that direction and be like, well, they like me, so I surely will like them. And it took so much work on myself. The more I did work on myself and, even writing these books and giving other people advice, and I started to realize, like, wow, I really need to, the more you develop that self-love and that respect for yourself and that relationship with yourself where you're like, I really love being around me. I really like spending time with myself. The more you start to realize, oh, I am valuable. And if I am valuable, then I get
Right.
to choose who comes in. And I don't have to just
Mhm.
sit there like anybody can come in, because I was doing life that way, was creating a pattern where the friends that I was attracting were like thrilled with the relationship. They were so happy. They were getting their needs met. I really had some notes about my friendships. I
Mm.
didn't really like them. I wasn't really getting what I needed, and I didn't really feel very good. And then you have that awkward moment where someone's like, "Oh, I love our friendship." And you feel that thing in your gut where you're like, "Uh-oh, I don't. This is what's wrong." And what
Right.
was wrong was, you know, I wasn't choosing them because I was like, "Oh, I love who they are. I love how they make me feel. I love what they add to my life." I
Right.
just loved that they liked me. And that's just never going to
Right.
be enough for a friendship. I mean, or a romantic relationship. I did that too, where it
Yeah.
was like, this person asked me out. Oh my God. And to be
Yeah.
fair, like, to be fair to myself and anybody else who has done this, we tell women to do that. Anybody has to come along and choose you. Oh my God, a man chose you. Who are you to pass him up? You got to take it. You're going to run out of them. You're going to turn a certain age and no one's going to choose you anymore. Hurry. When I tapped out of that,
You have a finite number of people who will court you,
yeah,
and you're running out.
yeah,
You gotta pick one quick.
can't be too picky. Who are you? I don't know, someone with
Right.
value, someone with self-esteem, someone with a choice, agency. I thought,
Right, right.
you know,
That is so interesting. That really resonates with me. I feel like there were so many relationships that I was in the past where I was like, he likes me? Well, then I am in love.
and he's a man. A man has chosen me at all. That's what we're supposed to
Ring,
live for, right?
ring a ding ding, ring a ding ding.
It happened. It happened,
Tell
mama.
everyone.
Like, it's just because we're still operating on this, like, kind of centuries old idea that, like,
Mhm.
oh, someone has come to rescue me from my family and he's
Right,
taking my dowry, and like, it doesn't look the same necessarily, but it
right.
is the same. It is still that, like, a man wants me at all, I have to go to him. And whereas we have men who, they could be 50, 60 years old, and they're like, I want a 20-year-old model and I'm not settling, and that's why I'm still single. And no one will give him notes on that. They'll be like, yeah, you have it, Gary.
Yeah, they're like, that's the dream, parrot head.
Yeah.
You're gonna achieve this.
Yeah, that's right. You don't settle. You're a hot bachelor. Yeah.
What is it I mean, you've obviously write about this extensively, but it is different to choose as an adult too.
Yeah.
Choosing friendship as an adult it's a really different, it's a different experience. It's a different kind of transaction. It
Yeah.
requires risk and it's like a leap into the unknown.
Yeah.
What does that choice feel like, or what can that look like?
Yeah, because it's tough, because one of the things that happens is you can choose somebody and their behavior, even if they really like you, they're not
Hmm.
giving you the same energy. That's so much
Right.
of what friendship is, and we don't talk about that. That's what so much of friendship is. We make it seem like it's this really easy thing and it just comes
Mhm.
together. It is just as complex as romantic relationships, if not more, I
Right.
would argue. Because I've definitely had friends where I've been like, oh, this is so cool and good and I really like this person, I'm going to ask them to hang out next week. And then maybe they can't, but they don't ask you the next time once they pass it up. And then you're
Right.
still kind of chasing them. Doesn't mean they don't like you, but eventually I'm just like, oh, okay, I really like this person, but they're not giving me that kind of mutual energy. We both have to be
Right.
kind of driving this together. Otherwise, I'm just like chasing a friend and it feels bad. So I think there's so many things that can come up, but I still think it's worth trying, even if it doesn't,
Right.
because it might just be an alignment thing. Like maybe right now they're too busy or they don't have the capacity for new friendship or whatever it is. You don't know. And then a year from now, they're in a better place and you hang out all the time. You don't know.
Right. I think that's a great way to see it, that when you're talking about friendship, you're driving it together.
Yeah.
Like you each have a steering wheel and you have to be going in the same direction a little bit to make it make sense.
But if you are used to, like I was, feeling like they, like having friendships where either they were really driving it and I was kind of just along for it, or I was really driving it and then that felt bad. That's why it's like you both need to, it doesn't need to be completely 50-50. You might take turns, like in any relationship. Sometimes you're going to drive for a while because they're tired and they take a nap and, or you take a nap or whatever. But in the beginning, it has to be like matched energy, I think.
Right. Oh, that makes so much sense. Want to listen to the rest of this episode? Head over to your favorite podcast player to hear the entire show. I highly recommend it.